checking this out. With me today, very special guest. I teased it on the episode from this past weekend. And I didn't really give any hints, although I totally blew it almost at the end of the show. But I had to edit that part out. With me today from the Dragon BallerZ podcast, the real JD Lee. What's up, man? JD, how are you?
I'm good. Kyle, how are you, man? You doing good?
Pretty good. Well, I mean, you knew who I was doing. You knew who I was doing.
Oh, well, wow. No, I didn't actually, but I mean, feel free to share.
You knew how I was doing because this episode today is part of a special 2-part episode. Right. So JD and I just sat down and he asked me some questions. That episode will be up on the Dragon BallerZ RSS feed. Want to go check that out. Check out the show. Those guys have been in business much longer than we have. So, in all honesty, go rummage through the catalog there. There's a lot of good content there, a lot of good analysis, and those guys are funny as fuck. JD and Steven the Brit. Steven couldn't be here today, unfortunately. But we do have JD, and I'm going to ask him lots of random Dragon Ball questions.
Yeah.
JD, how do you feel about that?
I'm fine with it. I mean, hopefully I'll be able to answer all those questions. I don't want to lose any credibility or anything. So I'll do my best.
I feel like you don't have to worry about that.
I hope not.
Well, my real question is, what the hell got you into Dragon Ball in the first place? You are a couple years older than I am, but we're like, in my brain, basically the same age.
Yeah, roundabout.
We probably started watching Dragon Ball, around the same time. How did you first find Dragon Ball?
Well, honestly, it was Dragon Ball Z was the first. And it was after schools on Toonami, like I would come home from school. Me and my brothers and my sister would be tooling around because we were latchkey kids. And we would get to watch TV before the parents came home. And, Dragon Ball Z was on Toonami. So every day, me and my younger brother would watch that. And then once that was over, we'd go do our own thing. And so, we bought VHSs, we got little snippets of the series here and there. But I mean, it started junior high, maybe a little younger, elementary, even like late elementary, junior high is when I started watching it. And, I was hooked. It was a cool show and started off with the Frieza saga. That's where everybody started off. Yep. And, I was just like, every day you wanted to come back and be like, okay, something's got to happen today because the last episode, nothing happened. So come on, let's see what happens today. So
maybe today is that episode where we finally reach the end of the 5 minutes.
Right. Maybe today Goku will get out of the tank. You know what I'm saying?
And then you get to the end of that episode run and then you go to tune in the next day and it's like, motherfucker, I already seen this Raditz episode.
Exactly.
Get out of here.
Right, exactly. Like, do it, Goku. Piccolo. It's awesome. Man, it's good stuff.
Like hell on loop.
Yeah, for real. Well, I mean, we had a comic book store close by, so we would go and we'd pick up the DVDs, the VHSs back then, and we'd watch them. That's what we did.
So was that like your first anime or any other anime that you're into?
That was the first one for sure. That
was the gateway drug.
Yeah, I'm into a ton of anime now. Like I've watched most of all the popular ones, except for Naruto. I admitted that on the last episode of Dragon BallerZ that I've never seen Naruto. My kids watch it, but I just couldn't get into it. So, but all the other ones, the big popular ones I've seen, but Naruto just wasn't for me.
Yeah, I've never really tried Naruto, but when I see it, I'm like, yeah, I already watched Dragon Ball like a billion times. I'm good.
Right. Well, I watch a couple episodes with my kids and I'm like, this isn't half bad, but there's other newer animes that I'm trying to watch. So it's on my list to eventually watch it, but it's never made it to the top.
There's just too many other good animes out there.
For real.
So that's like, knowing you have to go watch 38 episodes of Death Note. You're like, I got to watch these 850 episodes of One Piece first.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I watched Death Note and I loved it, but up to 38. But after that, it's mediocre at best. But yeah, One Piece is another one of those. Like, man, I've seen like the first 450 episodes, but I feel like it'd be too much to catch back up at this point, man.
Like, who's got that much time?
I know, right? And when you watch anime, you binge it. You're like, I'm gonna watch 12 episodes tonight. and then go to work in the morning, in a couple hours. But
is there any current animes that you're currently binging?
Yeah, doing My Hero right now. I wanted to jump on the My Hero bandwagon a long time ago, but
it's so good, isn't it?
It is so good. It's just a great story, and the characters are very compelling, and it's just well done. And I love the art style, and All Might as a character. It's good. I really enjoy it.
I love it.
Yeah.
You said you're what, mid-season 2?
Mid-season
What's
2.
going on with what you're watching right now?
They just finished the cavalry battle in the their little sports arena thing.
Yeah. That's the headbands, right?
Yeah, the headbands. So yeah. Just finished the headbands, and so next, that was the Calvary Battle finale was the one that I watched today. So
awesome.
And then I
just
watched
got current on that, and
nice.
Now I'm sad.
Yeah, I watched Attack on Titan too because I do another show on that. But I would watch it even if I didn't, because that's a damn good show.
Yeah, that's the next one I think I'm gonna really get into.
Dude, it's dark. It's dark as shit, man. It's so dark.
Some like real world shit.
Dude, it's dark. Like it starts off like, oh, this is kind of the story, and then it takes a hard left, and you're like, wow, this just got real heavy real quick. Yeah.
I think you sold me.
Yeah, dude, it's good. You'll love it.
So I'm gonna go on the assumption, I know that you do a chat on Titan.
Yeah.
But given the fact that you do a Dragon Ball podcast, I'm gonna assume it's one of your more favorite animes.
Yes, absolutely. That's my favorite. Dragon Ball is my favorite anime for sure.
Well, with that being said, favorite character.
Okay, and I mean, it's typical, but Vegeta has always been my favorite character, and the reason is I think he's the most developed character. He's had the best story out of any character in the show. Like Goku, you know what you're going to get, and you knew what you were going to get from the first time you see him in Dragon Ball. It's kind of airheaded, all about being strong, proving that he's the strongest, wants to fight you to see if you're stronger. Vegeta, though, going from this Prince of Saiyans that was kind of evil and was kind of prove himself and had a chip on his shoulder to where he was at the end of Z, and then especially at the end of Super. I mean, that is a tremendous story for one character, which is why I like him. And I honestly think Toriyama, sometimes on purpose, kind of writes him the way he does, to where we're always wanting more for him, because if he was ever like the actual hero, we would all be like, Vegeta's made it. But he doesn't want to let him make it, like Vegeta's always trying to improve and better himself, which I think is great. I love that about his character.
But I think when you take a step back and you look at it from the beginning of Vegeta's story, when he shows up on Earth with Nappa, to actually, I talked about a lot of the same things that you just said this past weekend with the dub, because it's the episode where Goku goes to Vegeta. He's like, hey man, I'm gonna go train with Whis. You want to come? And he goes on the whole thing about Bulma's pregnant. I can't leave her side. I need to be here. So like, if you take those two bookends and everything in between that Vegeta has gone through, despite the fact that yes, he's always like training and you always want him to get that #1 spot over Goku.
Yeah.
The fact that you can look at the character arc like that, like he's one. Goku is a super one-note character.
Yeah.
Vegeta has like a very full, happy, fulfilling life on Earth.
Absolutely.
And, he's a decent dude now.
Yeah, and Goku's relationship with Chi-Chi compared to Vegeta's with Bulma, like the episode where Goku's like, why are you touching her on the mouth? What is that about? Vegeta's like, don't you have kids? Like, what?
Yo, man,
how did that happen?
Kiss the girl?
Yeah, what's that about? I thought that was hilarious. Hilarious. But yeah, Vegeta. And then even with like the Majin Buu, where he let Majin take him over just so that he could beat Goku. It's like, that's the only reason I'm doing this. That's my motivation.
So fight uninhibited. Yeah.
Dude, it was awesome. Just crazy. Good character for sure.
And the fact that he's still strong enough in the Buu arc. Be like, all right, well, yeah, I still have all this magic badness going on inside of me, but I'm still gonna blow myself up for my kid and my wife and my friends.
Right.
Because I have friends.
Right.
I'm not evil anymore.
Yeah. I care about these people. It's
I love Vegeta.
Yeah, me too.
What's the favorite arc then?
I mean, it's gotta be the Frieza arc, because and I know that was the first one that got me into it, but I remember when the Super Saiyan happened for the first time, how hyped I was, and how, I was like, yeah, this is the shit, man. So it's got to be the Frieza arc. I love all the other arcs. Some of the other arcs are definitely more better stories, more told, and especially like in Dragon Ball, like the martial arts tournament, the first tournaments and that stuff like that are awesome. Great stories, but Frieza is the one that really got me into it. So it's more of a nostalgia reason that's my favorite arc.
That makes sense. Definitely. Yeah. The earliest version or the first version to like really make an impression on you, how could that not always be, you know, one of your favorites in your heart?
Right. I mean, it's like when you go to a restaurant, usually the first thing you order at the restaurant is your favorite dish at that restaurant because, you know, yeah, this is why I like this place because this is what I got.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, in terms of the Dragon Ball credentials and, you know, just the anime nerd credentials, you know, that all checks out for me, man.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
but as far as the podcasting, how did you get into making podcasts in the first place?
I've been podcasting 5 years now. Like, I started listening to podcasts a long time ago, like Kevin Smith and all his podcasts. I really enjoyed.
Dude, I knew it. I fucking knew you liked Kevin Smith. Which ones do you listen to?
Well, I don't really listen to any of them anymore. I always listen to Babylon. That was like the weekly one that I listened to. And then I was a big fan of Tell 'em Steve Dave, just because
I still listen to TESD.
Yeah, I stopped after like the last Truth or Dare one. I was like, man, I can't anymore. Like
Brian getting a little too racist for you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and they're funny, but I started getting to the point where I didn't want to just hear people just shoot the shit on and on, you know.
Yeah, there's really no point to that show outside of the fact that they're at the stash. That's it.
Right. And so I got to the point now with all the podcasts I listen to, I like to hear a story or like, you know, even like original works of fiction, you know, that's fine with me because I feel like it, you know, I'm gaining something and I've gotten past the like, okay, I know everything about these guys' lives because I've listened to them for 4 or 5 years. But my buddy Josh and I, we started like 5 years ago. We were like, hey, well, let's do a podcast. We want to do it on like nerd culture. So we started a show called The Nth Cast, which was where we talk about a topic to the nth degree. And so our whole premise was this week we're going to talk about robots, and we're going to talk about robots in music, robots in movies, robots in literature, robots in just pop culture. And so we did 5 episodes a week, and I mean, they were good, like for us but it was just too much work. So after that, we just started doing movie reviews, and then we did one on The Walking Dead. And then my friend Steven and I were like, hey, let's do one on Dragon Ball is coming back, a new series. Let's do a podcast on that. So that's where Super came from.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been podcasting for 5 years. I used to do 3 a week, which was too much. But I mean, yeah, a lot of podcasts with my voice on it out there in the world.
So, I mean, what was the driving force to do it? Like, was there anything outside of like, hey, because you're a musician. So I'm assuming that you had, you know, some microphones and some equipment to be able to make it happen. But what was it that finally made you say like, I need people to hear my opinion on this?
Well, you know, honestly, that was my biggest hurdle because I'm not a very narcissistic person, and I'm like, nobody gives a shit what I think. But my friend Josh and I, we were like, man, we talk about this kind of stuff, and all of our friends look at us like we're crazy. So, you know, let's just get on the internet and do a podcast and see if people listen. And we'll, you know, we just did it kind of as a hobby at first, and then it kind of took off, and we got a following, and we met people. So we're like, all right, well, let's keep doing this. And you know, people like what we say, and people have always said it feels like we're in the room talking with our buddies when we listen to your show, which is something that we've really tried to hone. And that's kind of the style and why we do our shows the way that we do. And it's more of a, hey, I'm just talking to you about what I saw and like opinions. And it's not, we don't give a lot of details about like who drew the episode or who directed the movie or whatever. Like, hey, I mean, it's us shooting shit about something we just watched, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. And in regards to like how you guys structure the episode, mainly around the reviews, you don't get too, like you say, you don't get too caught up in like the frivolous details. Like,
no.
Every once in a while, especially when new pertinent news comes out, we'll do news segments like, hey, Nagamine fucking whoever the hell said this shit about the Broly movie. Right. And I'll break it down. But like, I'll say those things because, you know, I want to be accurate. But I always have that voice in my head who I'm like, they're like, you know, you probably don't really give a shit about the proper pronunciation of this person's name.
Right.
Well, just lighten up, dude.
Yeah. And honestly, there's people who do that stuff better than we do. And that's what we always tell people, like, that's not what our show is. Our show is not, if you want information and like breaking news, we are not the people for you. If you just want to come sit, have a good time, listen to some friends talk, that's what our show is. And that's why we do it that way.
And we talked about it, you know, in the conversation we had on your podcast earlier tonight. Building community around a conversation like that, it feels really good, man. To have people say the same thing to us as well. It feels like I'm sitting around chatting with my buddies.
Yeah.
It's like the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
To help cure somebody's loneliness, at least, you know, for 40 minutes at a time.
Yeah. It always blows my mind when people are like, yeah, you're the highlight of my week because, you know, like I work long hours or I drive, you know, 17 hours a week. And I listen to you guys and I listen to your show on repeat because it feels like, you know, I'm not alone in my interests, or it feels like I'm there with somebody. And, you know, that's crazy to me that a podcast that I do about anime, it can have that much effect on somebody's day. That's crazy to me. It's always been crazy to me.
Yeah. But honestly, for me at least, that keeps me motivated to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we do it. Like we would do it anyway, but the fact that people listen and like it is a very rewarding and definitely a motivator to keep doing it.
Exactly. I always tell people, you keep listening, we'll keep making them. The end. All right. I think we've choked our own dicks a little bit too much.
Yeah, well.
Brass tacks. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Dragon Ball questions.
Shoot.
What did you think of Tournament of Power, the ending of Dragon Ball Super in general? How'd you feel about the last, you know, 30 to 40 episodes or whatever the hell it was of the series?
And I mean, I feel like my opinion's in the minority, but I really liked it, you know, and the Dragon Ball is such a well-built franchise now. And there's been so much story and so much character development. Just having a tournament where we met little snippets of people from a different universe and just like some really strong dudes, and seeing our heroes battle against them and trying their best and failing more often than not. And then coming out with a win in the end, it was entertaining. And if you view it as entertainment, I thought it was great. I enjoyed it a lot. I agree, there wasn't a lot of story, not a lot of character development, but I feel like that they didn't need it at that point. I mean, we've got 400 something episodes of the show if you count GT, I mean, whatever you want to do. It was just like, okay, this is entertaining. We've built up to this. Let's just have a good time watching these dudes just bang it out for, you know, 40, 50 episodes, see what happens, you know?
And I wasn't really, I mean, there were parts of it where I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
But overall, I enjoyed the Tournament of Power as an entire arc.
Right.
It was definitely...
The only thing I didn't like was Rebrian. I could have done without that for sure. She was just on too long.
We had so many screaming fits about Rebrian on this show.
Yeah.
It was bad news.
Dude, we did too. And like just the words that they use, I'm like, come on. This is totally a euphemism. You know?
Well, Rebrian aside, I feel like a Tournament of Power was solid.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was entertaining.
I think they kind of gave Jiren the shit end of the stick in terms of a backstory that they just try to cram into the last few episodes.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, give a shit about this character now.
Yeah, I agree.
Show's about to end.
I agree with that. Like Jiren, I would have liked to see a little bit more of his backstory. I mean, sure, he's motivated because, you know, he trained really hard and he failed anyway. So now he's never going to fail again. Cool, I get that. But why? Give me a whole episode of his backstory. I think everybody would have appreciated that.
In all honesty, I think Akira Toriyama just set out to Goku is Japanese Superman.
Right.
I think he just set out to make Japanese Batman.
Right. Exactly.
Except an alien from another universe.
Right. Who's just jacked, man. God, he was huge.
Thick as fuck, man.
Dude, man. I was like, I don't even know how he stands. Cause
he was a big boy.
Yeah, top heavy.
He looked like he skipped leg day.
Yeah, all of them do. I mean,
well, I don't know. I feel like Super as an entire series was. We talked about it on your podcast too. Yeah. So, you know, again, go check it out. But I feel like it was pretty decent. I feel like the highlight of it is that Goku Black arc. Yes. Tournament of Power was a little bit of a letdown coming into that. Mm-hmm. And just how long and drawn out it was. But one thing I did appreciate about it was the fact that they kind of let you know very early. All right, 48 minutes.
Right.
One episode equals 1 minute.
Right.
Strap in.
Yeah.
This is the longest tournament in Dragon Ball history.
Right. Well, I mean, but wouldn't you have been disappointed if it was like 10 episodes for that tournament? Like it was hard for them to find a medium. And I think they did a pretty good job of pacing it pretty well, honestly.
I think they felt that way in the moment.
Yeah.
But if you look at what's going on in the manga right now,
Sure.
they are streamlining the shit out of it.
Yes, they are. I
They're
mean,
moving right along.
and it's got to be a challenge going from those different mediums. Like, okay, because you have the ability to tell such a different story depending on. I mean, even looking at like the Dragon Ball manga is so different than the show. It's way more PG-13 and R-rated than even the show.
It is. A lot of penis in that manga.
Yeah. I mean, going back and watching Dragon Ball, I'm like, God, I forgot how many times Goku just takes his pants off.
The dude never has pants.
I know, dude. Like, what? He's like, I got a tail. I got 2 tails. It's fine. I'm good. I'm good.
Double tail, go. So I think maybe the best way for us to be able to like kind of see how you feel about Dragon Ball going forward is taking the temperature on Broly.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this Broly movie coming up?
I'm torn. I'm really torn. I've never been a big fan of Broly. Total honesty, I'm not a big fan of any of the Dragon Ball movies. Just like I didn't get their purpose. I've seen them all more than once, and I'll watch them. And we've reviewed some on the podcast.
Even Bio Broly?
Yeah, not a fan.
Come on, dude.
Whatever. Come on now. You don't like Bio Broly either. I know you don't.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh,
Bio
God.
Broly's the worst one. By fucking far.
Yeah. So I'm really torn. I'm excited to see Toriyama's interpretation of Broly, if that's really what's going to happen. I'm not sure that that's what actually is going to happen. And the preview got me hyped as hell because the preview looks awesome. And when they say Broly and Broly comes out and you see him a little bit fighting, you're like, okay, this could be good. But I don't know. I was really kind of hoping for something new, and I'm okay with it. I'm just really trying to reserve any judgment and not read spoilers, not listen to any content about speculation about the movie because I don't want to be tainted in that way. I just want it to be like, okay, I'm going to watch the movie. I'm going to go to theater. I'm going to take my kids because they want to watch it too. And we'll just see how it goes.
That's a good call. That's like a really level-headed approach.
Yeah. I try to be level-headed. I'm like, I can't be young and crazy anymore. You know?
You gotta set screaming your dick off about things. No, I
gotta set an example, man. You know. So, yeah.
And that's why I don't have kids, because I'm definitely not trying to set an example.
There you go. So I mean, I wish it was something different. I wish it was like the history of the Saiyans, which is what we were told it was going to be, and only the history of the Saiyans. So. We'll see what the mix is. If it's just Broly for like 10 minutes at the end, I'll probably be disappointed. But if it's like an hour, 20 minutes of Broly, I'll also probably be disappointed. So, I mean, we'll see what they do.
I've been reading the shit out of spoiler stuff.
Yeah.
Some new news came out this morning. I won't talk about it here because I don't want to blow things up for you.
Oh, thank you.
But we will definitely talk about them on the Super Dope episode this weekend. We've actually got a special announcement coming up. So no new episode of the dub this weekend, but we are going to make a new episode this weekend. We're going to talk about some of this new Broly news as well as make the special announcement. So make sure you check it out this weekend.
Yeah, for real.
Excited as hell.
You should be.
So I hope the Broly movie is good.
I do too.
I mean, I feel like I had to go out of my way to explain that to some people and say, I'm not amped that they're bringing Broly back, but I still want this movie to be good. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
And people can't really draw the line with that sometimes, I think. So I don't know.
Right. I get it.
So once this Broly movie wraps up, what do you think is the future for Dragon Ball Super? Do you think the anime comes back? Do you think they just do movies?
I mean,
what are you thinking?
I think it'd be crazy not to bring the anime back. I mean, they made so much money from the show, and they got a whole new generation of fans from the show. They shouldn't make us wait another 20 years to bring the anime back. I really, really think that they should bring it back. If not next year, 2020, because that needs to happen. But I don't know if they're gonna, because I'm sure it's a shit ton of work, and I don't know how much they want to put into it, and maybe making movies is easier. I really think the reaction to this movie is going to be telling. Like, if it's awesome, people love the movie, I have high hopes for an anime. If it's mediocre, I think they're just going to do movies for a little while and then see if ever they like, hey, we've got a story we want to tell, and then the anime will come back as something different. But I'm not sure Super is going to come back as Super. I wish, but I don't know.
Could be, Dragon Ball, whatever. Dragon Ball Ultra.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Super Z.
Dragon Ball Plus Ultra.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Plus Ultra. Probably can't do that one.
I hope it comes back, but
I do too.
You're right, man. There's no certainty that it will. They could just decide that it's more profitable or like a better use of their time to just put all of their effort into one good movie once every year for the next few years.
Right.
And that's frustrating. That's a scary fucking proposition for me, man.
I mean, it almost makes you wish that like some ginormous company would buy it, like how Disney bought Star Wars, and then they have like the Star Wars Rebels show, and then the movies coming out every year. Like, okay, let's go. We can do this. But you don't really want that to happen, but you wish like, okay, this can be done. Look, it can be done. Let's make it happen.
I don't think Toei would ever.
Oh, they would be crazy to sell it.
It's got it. I'm pretty sure anyway that it's their biggest, moneymaker.
I mean, they'd be billions. Why would you ever get rid of it?
We're basically at the mercy of Toei.
I know, dude.
For the rest of our lives.
I know, it doesn't give me a lot of hope at all.
Frustrating as hell.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of possibilities in the future for this series.
Right.
And that's the important thing.
Yes, there is. I mean, they've introduced enough new characters. We've got the Universe 6 Saiyans. We've got, Hit and Jiren. There's enough there for them to move forward that they really should explore that.
And in my opinion, that's what makes this Broly movie even more frustrating.
Yeah, because it's nothing about the new characters we met.
Why would you give us 40 to 50 episodes of all of these new characters? They did themselves such a favor with the Tournament of Power in terms of fast track building a universe.
Yeah,
and by universe, I mean like universe of characters to go visit, explore, build upon. What's the first fucking thing you do?
Right.
Bring back Broly.
Bring back Broly. Yeah, that's true.
The thing that nobody asked for.
Right. Well, because they could easily be like, hey, Universe 3 called us. They need some help. Let's go to Universe 3 and help out. And that could be 35, 40 episodes right there.
Could be. That would be way more satisfying.
Yeah, they should.
A Broly movie.
They should let us write it. What's need to happen?
I say it at least once a month.
I know, right, dude?
People at Toei, Dragon Ball Room, give me a GD job.
Yeah,
I will write the shit out of some stories right fucking now. Yep. Hire my friend JD as well. Yep. He also has some stories that he will write the shit out of.
That's right.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No. Well, this has been fun, man. I'm glad we were finally able to do this.
Me too, dude. I enjoyed it. This
has been an experience. Hopefully, basically the point of us doing this episode today is just trying to introduce each other's audiences to one another.
Yeah.
So if you listen to this show every week, make sure you go check out Dragon BallerZ.
Right.
And definitely go check out me rambling about random Dragon Ball stuff on their podcast.
For real.
In conjunction with this episode.
Yeah, for real.
What else you got to plug, man? Where can we find you? Where can we find the show? Twitter? What's all that stuff look like?
Yeah, man. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at RealJDLee. You can follow my co-host Steven at Steven the Brit. You can follow our show Twitter at Dragon_Baller_Z. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, pretty much every single
Spotify. That's where I've been listening.
Yeah, Spotify. Pretty much every single podcatcher that exists, we're on there. So check us out. And then if you like Attack on Titan, you can always listen to A Chat on Titan too. That's our new show. It's only about 15 episodes in on that one.
I was gonna say, is that episodic? Like you guys are doing one episode each episode?
Yeah, we did a bunch of recaps for season 1 and 2, but now we're doing one a week for season 3, which just came out.
Word. So I need to watch a bunch of Attack on Titan before I can listen to that show.
Dude, it's not that bad. I mean, I'm telling you, once you start it, you're going to go through it.
I'm going to get hooked.
Yeah, dude, you will. I promise. You'll watch season 1 in like 2 days. It'll happen.
I mean, I don't have a job.
There you go.
Maybe I should.
Yeah. Tomorrow morning, you're going to start it.
Solid. Good suggestion. You won me over.
You're welcome.
JD Lee from the Dragon BallerZ podcast. Thanks so much for joining us, man. We really appreciate you coming on. Super dope. We'll check out the first half of this conversation on his podcast. And we'll talk with y'all soon, man. Super dope.